A £1 million campaign to bring a high-speed 2 station to Stoke-on-Trent appears to have ended in failure, with a clear recommendation today that a North West England hub for HS2 should be built in Crewe instead. In a moment, I'll be talking to the leader of Stoke-on-Trent City Council. But first, here's our political reporter, Phil McCann.
Bring HS2 through Stoke-on-Trent and you'll save £2 billion of taxpayers' money, and journey times won't even have to rise. That was the main message earlier this month when the City Council launched its business case with this glossy video. But the Prime Minister was in Leeds today to hear why it makes more sense to stick with the original plan to stop 15 miles away in Crewe.
I recognise Stoke's clear desire to have a station there, but continue to believe that Crewe's role as a hub serving Merseyside, Staffordshire, the rest of the North West and North Wales makes it the more natural location.
And afterwards, Sir David told me Stoke-on-Trent won't necessarily lose out by not having a station.
I do understand the issues of Stoke. I believe the benefits to Stoke can be delivered by having a high-speed service that could start north, Stockport, and go through Stoke, then connect to the high-speed line.
So it seems like a victory for Cheshire over Staffordshire, but an olive branch is being offered.
I don't see it being a victory like that. I think our plan always included Stoke-on-Trent. And I think they understand that we all need to work together now to get the best.
This, though, is still the vision for an international station in North Staffordshire, in the Etruria area. And this is what that proposed station site looks like today. The dereliction here used to be a steelworks employing thousands of people, and the hope is HS2 will bring thousands of jobs back here. But the focus for leaders in this city is now on the government. They'll be trying to persuade Whitehall to ignore one of the main recommendations of the man it nominated to lead HS2.
I don't anticipate huge changes. Huge changes would have to be consulted on separately. As I say, I hope we'll be in a position to make a final decision in 2015.
For a city desperate to regenerate places like this, it's not going down without a fight. The council's earmarked £950,000 for its business case, and there are already threats of legal action and calls for government compensation if the bid fails. Phil McCann, BBC Midlands Today.
Well, joining me from our studio in Stoke is City Council leader, Councillor Mohammed Pervez. Good evening, Councillor. You've spent around £1 million on trying to bring HS2 to Stoke-on-Trent. Was that a waste of taxpayers' money?
First of all, we haven't spent £1 million. We've spent £500,000. And I think the important issue here is the negative impact on the economy of Stoke-on-Trent and North Staffordshire as a consequence of moving ahead with what HS2 Limited have proposed today. Government's own figures are indicating that the negative impact on Stoke-on-Trent and North Staffordshire is going to be about £74 million a year. That is absolutely huge, and that is not a position that we can tolerate.
Councillor, it's going to be difficult for you to change this decision on the station in Crewe, though, isn't it? I mean, Sir David Higgins says that a station in Crewe is the best way to serve not just the local region, but also provide services to the rest of the North West, Wales and Merseyside. It's difficult to argue with geography.
It's important that to note that this is only a proposal by Sir David Higgins. The final decision makers are the government in all of this, and our fight will be with government to ensure that they are listening to us, that they understand the consequences of their decision on the economy of Stoke-on-Trent and North Staffordshire, and moving forward, I hope that the government will come up with a series of measures that will address those concerns.
So how are you going to do that? How are you going to persuade the government that Stoke needs a station for HS2?
I think in terms of the negative impact, it is government's own reports that are indicating that if HS2 bypasses the city and North Staffordshire, the negative impact on the city and the sub-region is going to be huge. Therefore, our view would be to work with them as far as possible, but we have got parliamentary processes and other ways of challenging this decision, which, to my mind, has been a flawed process throughout, and it is important that we don't lose this fight, and whatever happens, we are not going to just sit back and let government harm our city's future from an economic perspective.
OK, Councillor Pervez, thank you for your time this evening.